Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this video. This guy really did a great job with the analysis and all that. How he was talking about how all these things going on has always been programmed, and which is true. It's not like black people did not know. Black people saw ahead of time. That is also one of the reasons why they talked about Project 2025. And if you look around now, you definitely will see that almost everything going on is fulfilling everything in Project 2025. And he also mentioned how they are also going to make people that look like me to be at, they won't be at ease. And if you look at it, that is true. If you see what is going on, my people are not at rest, right? Because literally it's been a mess since the whole thing started. But there is also a need for healing and all that. But how do you want to heal when something that you are supposed to heal from is still attacking you or is still close to you? How do you want me to heal? The people that voted for this administration are worse than cankerworm, leech. They actually thought it was going to be in their favor, but it is not favoring them at this point in time. They think capitalism and all that is something that we just know. All these things are all you need to learn, understand. How does it work? Imperialism, capitalism, and all that. You know what? Let's get into this video.
The United States is switching to a shadow policy apparatus. Okay, a shadow policy apparatus. We're going to go through it because it's a mix of debt surveillance, migration control, and supply chain domination. And really understanding this will help you see kind of what's going on right here. So don't imagine ICE's immigration enforcement. That's the wrong way to think about this. It is a soft domestic army, not just for immigration, but for control during social and economic unrest, functioning as a pretext for martial enforcement. Economic fear? No. Obedience tool. Keep recession fears quiet while creating the conditions, right? And then high interest rates, strategic job insecurity, high cost of goods to slowly consolidate behavioral compliance. And then legal ambiguity, right? Because if citizens can be mistaken for deportable, who really has status? This allows power to be weaponized through vagueness. Are you really safe? But then here's one of the things. A lot of people talking about a recession, of this, of that. It's a control lever. Recession is a control lever, not a crisis. The suppression of recession headlines, right, would mean that economic spiral is being curated rather than responded to. So the Fed and the elites need to slow down, to cool wage growth, to break labor momentum, and to reestablish capital discipline. And the middle class collapse is being managed, not avoided. We're going to see like stealth liquidity extraction, right? Reverse QE, student loan repayments being reactivated, snap cuts, utility hikes, no cultural language around it, just quiet pressure. And then the trade war as spectacle. The real shift is tech sovereignty. The China headlines, right, don't really matter that much. It's a global decoupling campaign. The U.S. is trying to pull critical manufacturing and rare earth reliance away from China without public panic. That is the whole goal, right? AI and microchip nationalism, that's the whole goal. The United States consolidating control over chips and AI while quality offshoring inflation, right, and manufacturing externalities, right? China would be responding by building an alternative trade bloc, right? Think Belt and Road 2.0, but militarized. And then there's a return to national identity as economic strategy. If the deportation policies keep staying hidden how they are, right? Here's what's going on really deeply. Here's what's going on, because it's actually a quiet cultural reconciliation. It's a narrative pivot to nativism, right? And economic fear becomes a cultural fear about others taking jobs or corrupting systems. The citizens versus non-citizens is blurred on purpose, creating a two-tier system of rights. So the missing headline that you don't see is that strategic collapse has begun. Because there's a missing headline in the news right now, which is why we don't cover the news a lot on this page, because the news is not telling you the story. And I don't know how to say it. I almost should go at them. That's how they're not doing it, because it smells a lot like the careful collapse of old post World War II. That's what it looks like. Right? What we're not being told is that we're being withdrawn from globalism, but not as an act of fear, but as a way to remold. Domestic enforcement rises while external entanglements shift toward economic cold wars instead of military ones. The systems aren't failing. They're being repurposed for a leaner, more controlled state model. So what we're actually headed toward is freedom versus algorithm, governance by platform, social services, identity verification, even voting becomes tied to digital platforms managed by corporate governance sponsorships, and score-based citizenship. Not unlike China's social credit, but subtler. Access to housing, healthcare, and loans could depend on compliance metrics like attendance, payment behavior, speech records, even who you associate with online, and facial recognition, right? Cross-border biometric networks. Under the banner, right, of immigration control and national security, this will entrench surveillance capitalism as policy enforcement, and we'll get border militarism as domestic doctrine. ICE will evolve into a national enforcement arm. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Far beyond immigration, right? They will act extrajudicially, right, performing detainments, removals during civil unrest, economic protests, or in emergency zones. The border will move inward, affecting citizens who appear deportable, meaning racial profiling will become infrastructural. Right, then, right, we have economic citizenship, class-based republic. You'll get the corporate class Americans, right, with full access to mobility, healthcare, education, and legal immunity. Tier 2 working class citizens monitor and manage through benefit conditionality, job programs, debt forgiveness, and access tied to obedience. And then the non-citizens, refugees, and shadow citizens, those lost in data errors, legal traps, debt collapse, used for labor, feared, and narrative. And then the false faith economy will bloom, right? A fusion of patriotism and financial compliance. You prove your loyalty by not voting. That's what it's going to come down to. By spending, subscribing, uploading, and believing in the narrative. Religious nationalism is going to rise. Church-state fusion via family values rhetoric, but deployed to justify surveillance and anti-immigrant actions. Crypto and digital dollars may be offered as freedom, but they really just going to create a programmable money trap. We're going to see narrative warfare. Narrative warfare is domestic policy. The press doesn't just shut down, it's gamified. Journalists will be forced into attention economies where dissent can't survive unless viral, meaning that only spectacle reaches the people, which is why I felt the need to make this post anyway. Education becomes story warfare, right? History rewritten, dissenters reframed as unstable, patriarchy, myth-making, right? All of that gets tied to economic loyalty. We are seeing the birth of a simulated republic. That is what we're seeing the birth of. Still looks like democracy, still has elections, still waves the flag. Underneath, the law is selectively enforced. Citizenship is conditional. Dissent is pathologized, and loyalty is economized. The state doesn't declare itself. It forms through layered entropy, passive collapse, phrased as progress. But stay focused. Black people, right, we're spiritually stressed right now, and this is deep, and it's something we need to take advantage of, right? We deal with chronic spiritual exhaustion, cultural hyperproduction, masking hollowing, and language is mined, not lived from us. So vibe, lit, trauma, healing, grind become templates, not truths. Black culture is used to metabolize national contradictions. Joy masking decay, rage is entertainment, pain is market. We're not allowed to heal because our suffering is profitable. But here's what white people are in the middle of: narrative confusion. I feel erased. Where's my pride? Right? Increasing reliance on conspiracy, QAnon replacement theory, emotional breakdown outsourced to politics, outrage cycles are greater than the will to integrate, and faith systems fail to metabolize grief, and they get replaced with performance, prosperity gospel, nationalism. Here's the thing what we headed up to. We are headed toward a literal disaster with them. We are going to see involuntary confrontations with climate, economics, and identity dislocation hit white people. Misuse of AI to simulate healing. Therapy talk, mindfulness capitalism, spiritual grift. That's all what's coming up. Black culture is expected to carry the moral censor while being further denied rest. We only got two options: reckoning, right, or repression. That's what we're headed for everybody. But we're going to stay focused. This is what we need to do. Okay, we're going to go into what black people need to do to respond to this, because I wanted to paint the picture of what's actually going on, because the news articles won't cover it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they won't cover it. And it's happening live. So, this is just a good speed up for anybody who doesn't get the state of the situation. So last video I did on this subject, this is just the part 2 to it. this is what we should do. We should do, right? I believe 2026 is too far away to wait for, especially under these conditions, right? Once pressure gets a little higher than this, elections don't guarantee restoration, right? They become narrative projections. They often fail to metabolize or even process collapse. So we need a response plan. And this is just some of it. Of course, we're not just going to go label everything right here out loud for everybody to go, exploit, but we are going to talk realistically. So we need to assume collapse is rhythmic, not final. Don't prepare for a moment, prepare for a rhythm. Meaning won't return in a single event like an election or protest. Instead, expect surges of unprocessed experiences demanding new kinds of refusal, new kinds of sanctuary, and new kinds of processes to metabolize it. They're going to come at Black society and us in new ways that we formerly haven't seen before. So here's what we need to prepare for. We need to move from visibility culture to village culture. Okay? From visibility culture to village culture. Right now, from what they're trying to build, from what I've been able to see, we are deeply overexposed. We need to identify almost 5 people you build with. It doesn't even matter if you can achieve this step or not. But the goal is that we need to trust, heal, reflect, and create sanctuary practices and treat this as your emotional prep time. We need memory altars, not just candles, but altars of narrative truth. Because once they get truth in their hands, once they get recorded history and the narrative in their hands, you won't be able to tell a story again ever again using any of that information. We need journals, photos, losses, letters. These are anti-gaslight tools, right? And then we need to decentralize our hope. This is why I say that we're not, I'm not just trying to be some leader, because we need to go further than a leader. We need no single figure, party, or trend should hold to our expectations. We need to diversify faith and let restoration be modular. Okay, we can get here. All right, we can get here. Okay, we can get here. Instead of just hoping one group will do everything, we need to actually tackle problems head on. And then here's the thing. We need narrative shields and soft spaces, right? Unprocessed experiences, especially from them, and we were trying to avoid that at all costs. They enter through stories. Stop rehearsing despair for the algorithm. So this means reduce reactive discourse, especially around white panic, scapegoating, and black tokenization. Let them have that. Okay, replace representation with restoration. Focus less on being seen by systems and more on being safe from them. Because we're gonna enter a pivot, and we need to. You see what I mean? Because I can't even describe it no further than that. And then unplug from the spectacle cycles. Learn to say that's not our theater. That's what we need to get to. Redirect the gaze toward internal myth, because it's our future we're fighting for, not the external mayhem. And then readiness without retaliation, because if the collapse manifests materially, like utility cuts, social unrest, surveillance, we need to prepare without posturing, because if they see us posture, they're gonna know exactly how to get us. So cash alternatives, offline skills, mutual aid pathways, and expect legal ambiguity. I'm telling you to expect it. Carry ID, record interactions, stay fluid. Never centralize risk. We do not need a movement around one charismatic leader. We need to actually keep people safe in our neighborhoods. You see what I mean? So we need to normalize quiet defection, because if the narrative collapses, it might be the best not to fight. And this is why I talk about things like irrelevantism. This is why I talk about, I don't need to see you at a protest, because we need to unname ourselves from this type of system. Once they create infrastructural racism, you will see pain hit our community in a way that hasn't been recognizable recently. Okay, we need to practice emotional underperformance, right, in white-facing institutions. Don't give them your full inner life. Build under the noise. Step off the center stage. This is not surrender. This is sacred preparation. The key reframe is that 2026 is not a deadline. It is a distraction unless our society reclaims its narrative metabolism before then, right? Unless we develop the way to process all of these unless we develop methods, right? Literally, I would almost go as far as saying spiritual methods to actually confront and process the experience that come and hit our community. We will be caught up in the same mayhem they will. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a reason why the solution is only the solution I'm talking about is only applicable to white society. It's only not white society, to black society. There's a reason why I'm talking about it like this, and it's because how do I say it? It's because white society, they have a long road back. They do, right? Our road back comes from stepping out of the spotlight. This means the black celebrity era gotta go. It gotta go, because all them people getting arrested. I need people to understand that they took black people's homes. This means you had to own a house. So you being rich and black doesn't get you away from this. Because every home that got robbed was stolen from a homeowner, not a renter. So once infrastructural racism comes up, they are taking your new house. They are taking the mansion. They are closing the bank account. This is why I have a hard time listening to like the rich people. Because if you rich and red pill, you're capping. You're capping because they want your home. What? If you're broken red pill, you're just stupid. But you need to understand that they are targeting us in a way that we are not prepared for. Which is why I spend so much time talking about healing in general. Because once this starts, I'm telling you, if we looking for any type of scene, like sight from them, any type of visibility from them, it'll be in consequence.
How the fuck does the narcissism not wake y'all the fuck up? How does that not raise a flag in your mind? How does that not bother the fuck out of you? Historically, humans are pretty fucking quick to judge, especially when they're judging a confident human or even a cocky human. Oh, why are they so full of themselves? Who do they think they are? You think you're better than me? How often do we hear that? But for some reason, this is the only space I have seen this level of fucking egotistical bullshit not only be allowed, but praised. How do you refer to that orange, fat Fanta can motherfucker as a strong leader when he crumbles every time you do anything but kiss his ass? That's not strength, that's straight up fear of judgment. A strong leader would be open to it all, and he would have the real world resume evidence to back it up, to say that he's a strong leader. But this motherfucker knows that he's wrecking everything. That's why he crumbles. That's why he needs the praise and the attentions and the false accolades. How the fuck does that not bother y'all? How is that not fucking weird to you? How many women that support Donald Trump have horror stories of their fucking narcissistic ex? So they'll post a 35-part story about how evil that motherfucker is, but then when this goddamn orangutan in the Orange Office straight up lies and says that he's doing the best, his approval rating is in the fucking dumpster. And then when the polls come out, he says, oh, we need to investigate these researchers for everything that doesn't kiss this motherfucker's ass has to be fake news. That's not strength, that's straight up pussy shit. He has all of his fucking yes men around that table on his 100-day speech, and they're like, Trump, you have endured so much. You have achieved so much. I love you. Show me your balls. It's the weirdest shit. Who applauds that? That shit is fucking... How the fuck can you say it's not a cult when we watch some shit like that? It's about as Kim Jong-un as it fucking gets. We are approaching fascism so goddamn fast. One of the craziest parts of this to me, one of the craziest fucking things to me, is to watch this sunburnt Pop-Tart campaign the whole fucking time. I'm gonna lower everything. Inflation, prices, everything lowered. And they said, hell yeah, Joe Biden has ruined the economy. Everything's so expensive. That was their complaint. Everything's so goddamn expensive. But literally in real time, when he says, okay, these tariffs are gonna affect things. I just watched Trump give that speech where it's like, hey, some people who had $10 for Christmas might have to have $2 for this time around. Telling you that things are gonna be more expensive. Not as easily accessible, not as easily affordable. And the same motherfuckers who said the economy is terrible, Joe Biden made everything expensive, it's out of control. When this dude skyrockets the thing because of an unnecessary fucking trade war with everybody, what do they say? It's just temporary pain. I'm prepared to pay more for long-term gain. We could have chose Kamala. We could have chose Kamala and not had to deal with any of this bullshit. But we have motherfuckers who swore they were too broke to afford fucking gas last October. Now they're ready to pay $275 for a fucking biscuit. Cause that's what's gonna bring the golden age of America. Nigga, fuck y'all, man.
This is all I got from this video, and sincerely speaking, like this young man said, you all can actually understand that at this point Black people are already stressed out, and this is somebody people voted for. I mean, somebody voted for all of this, and this is also to tell you that Project 2025 has also come to, like, I mean, like, you all can see Project 2025 playing out in full order, because everything that was said is literally happening and some are yet to happen. And then people are going to also gaslight you and tell Black people to come out when they are the real people that are supposed to be outside doing what they are doing no, like, they are supposed to be outside to save themselves. Not only Black people that need to be saved, they also are in danger and need to save themselves, right? And the truth is that you all can see how he is using ICE like his own army. Are you people not seeing that? ICE is becoming their own army. And okay, this man, I don't know how this man got, I mean, like, how he ended up being the president of United States, but everybody is going to hear it. Even the rich, also the wealthy ones, will still hear it, and the poor ones that stepped out to vote will also hear more than any other person. And why are they actually scared at this point in time? Because they expected this thing to start happening to people that do not have privilege. And who are the people that do not have privilege? Absolutely, it should be people that look like me. It should be people that look like me, that do not have privilege. But now it left the people that do not have privilege, and it is hitting them back and forth. How come? How did it happen? What were we doing when it happened? When the universe wants to work, it works in a mysterious way. I know how hard it is actually so far, because some people, it is affecting us. We are experiencing everything because there is no place we go to. Maybe we go to the stores or groceries and all that, and they are saying you're a Black person, we have to reduce maybe 50 cents or 2 cents for you. No, we are going through it too. We don't know how long it's going to last. But Black people already knew it was going to happen. That was the reason why they decided to let you all come over. Come, let's do the right thing. And you all said no. Even the minority group said no. I am going to align with other people. Now they are looking for people to save them. How do you want people that look like me to save you when we are also looking for somebody to save us? So far, I don't know if you all have heard, he has requested already like almost how much, $1 billion US for the future army. I don't know if you all heard that. And he also wants to do parade. Parade for what? When the country is already burning. People cannot even buy things. You are at war with China. People cannot bring in goods. Goods are not going out. I don't know. I don't want to fearmonger my people, right? But no matter how prepared they are, Black people are also prepared because they saw this in ahead of time. It is people that did not even know how to survive that it will get to. I'm not saying it's not going to get to us. It will. But Black people kept ready. I am just going to draw the cut in here. Shout out to this young man. He is really brilliant. Bye for now.